My name is Fons Raedschelders. I'm the Acting Senior Wildfire Officer of Prevention in the Southeast Fire Centre, working with the BC Wildfire Service. Obviously the magnitude of the 2017 followed by the 2018 fire seasons pushed everybody back into the fold and realizing that wildfire is a big part of our ecosystem, a big part of our world. It can be devastating at times. The impacts are felt well beyond the communities or the areas directly affected by those wildfires. And not just the smoke and the general discomfort, but the socioeconomic issues, the large scale environmental impacts are at the forefront. We see it with the flooding, we see it with the wildfires, and we see it generally with the 24 or 12-month seasons that we deal with now. It's not something we just deal with in the summer months. That being said, we draw a stark line between the two seasons. They weren't the same. The numbers, the impacts certainly feels the same when you have two big seasons back to back, but both seasons taught us that we're fundamentally integrated with the environment that we live in. The wildfires that we deal with on an annual basis are unpredictable in their location, in their magnitude. The prediction of wildfire seasons is something that we don't have the ability to do long term. So with the changing climate and the changing environment that we deal with going forward, it's going to be increasingly difficult to be able to anticipate and react. It's become more and more evident year to year that we need the communities that we're involved with, that the regional districts, the municipalities, the local governments at any levels, First Nations collaboration is becoming more and more important every year. This isn't something that the BC Wildfire Service can handle alone. It really is something that we need to collectively look at and realign society and our communities with wildfire as a part of our world. It's not something separate from us. It's not something that we are immune from. It is something that we genuinely live with and have lived with for a long time. People have asked me in the past what my fire season predictions are, something like that, and that's not something that I think about like that. You know, we've never had a wildfire season without a fire, and that's the way that we approach it. Every season is going to bring its own challenges. We anticipate and we prepare for the busiest season we can every year, and we hope for the best. You know, our crews have been pushed to the limits, our resources have been pushed to the limits, and at the end of every season we come out of it, we breathe take a breath of fresh air when the winter months come, and we prepare for the next year again. You know, the response part is often what gets the attention in wildfire, whether it's the air tanker program, you know, our hell attack crews, our rappel crews, our para-attack crews, you know, the numerous contract firefighters we employ. And it really does become something that our whole society takes on. But it's important that we start to shift the mindset into a preparedness, a resiliency, like I said earlier, working alongside wildfire, you know, realigning ourselves with the ecology of our regions. You know, the public plays a huge role in both wildfire mitigation or risk mitigation, you know, and it really starts with education. We have an obligation, I think, as citizens to educate ourselves to the forests that we live in, that we live around, the ecology and the history of where we live. And I think if we start to really tread down the path of knowing our surroundings, knowing our environment, and knowing the situation that we're in, it makes it a lot easier to approach the fire smart disciplines that we talk about, or the fuels management disciplines that we talk about. They start to make sense. There's no hidden secrets when it comes to fuels management or risk reduction. There really is only educating yourself to the best of your ability. We try to preach, you know, the surface fuels first. You know, you take care of what you can. You work from your home and you work away. You remove ember beds. You remove whatever you have in the way that might cause a problem. There's lots of education out there, whether it's through bcfiresmart.ca or bcwildfire.ca. There's loads of information out there, and there's loads of educational pieces out there that really can give you an idea of where to start. The more you know, the stronger you are and the more resilient you will be, and the easier that the principles around risk reduction and wildfire prevention come to you. We realize that fires are going to happen. Depending on the fire center you're in, a large percentage, up to 70% of the wildfires that we see any year are lightning. And we prepare ourselves and we have systems in place to manage those. Human-caused wildfires are certainly the ones that are most difficult for us to manage, and they can often be the most devastating because of the location that we find them in. Prohibitions and the use of prohibitions is something that we've used as a tool in the past, but it really is a societal approach that we need to hold each other accountable, to make sure that when we are using fire for debris burning in our backyard or something, that we're doing it smart, that we make sure that we educate ourselves, that we're following the rules that are laid out. The reason that we have those rules is because they're tried and true. You don't want to burn or be using fire or be using activities that may result in a fire at any given time if there's a hazard or if there's a risk, if you're not prepared and if you're not educated. That really is the key. There is no such thing as an accidental human-caused fire. They are all preventable. And we try to put systems in place to minimize those, but ultimately it does fall on the individual to make sure that they have control over their own backyard.